And we are live. Welcome back to
MidDay Café.
And I'm one of your hosts, Mike Gannotti, with
Tyrelle Barnes.
we're kind of free forming today, folks, because we've both been on the go and doing lots of things. But I'm excited, Tyrelle. So there has been all kinds of announcements about
Viva. Yeah, HR Tech's been going on this week in Vegas, and now all kinds of announcements and really cool things in Viva now. And so I think that's what we're going to talk about today, right?
Yeah, and I got to tell you, like when the stuff that we're going to go through, the what's new in Viva dropped, I was like, whoa, because to be blunt, Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot has just taken everything by storm. And, you kind of were like, oh, okay. And then Viva, but Viva is on the move and growing and doing all kinds of things and leveraging Copilot in some pretty cool ways that customers can start to get involved with. We're going to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why don't we do this? They have a post on it. I want to talk through because, I already, the day, not yesterday, day before, I had to do a presentation on Viva with where you start to see a lot more excitement. Again, stirring up has really been around this whole communication and communities piece that takes, the whole connections, engage, and the just released Amplify. Brings them all together. And I happened to see this and I was like, oh my goodness, there's all kinds of stuff around connections, brand new, that I didn't even know was happening. I mean, we were going through it and you were like, wait a minute, I haven't even heard of it. And I was like, me neither. It's crazy.
It's hard to keep up with how fast things are evolving and getting GA'd or in private preview. And so super exciting.
Yeah, and I'll tell, we're going to go through all this today. What's funny to me is there has been a ton of updates, and they're holding back because we have Ignite coming up in a couple of weeks.
Right. Is Ignite going to be in Redmond again this year, Mike?
That's a great question. I don't know. The only thing I do know is I've been told they've been holding their stuff that we in the field do not know. I have no insight, so don't start, pinging me on LinkedIn or wherever. Mike, what is it? Pray tell. I have no idea, but I heard there's going to be some big splashes that are going to come out.
Wow. I bet it's going to be around generative AI.
Well, that's going to be a piece of it. Yeah, certainly. And, yesterday I did share with you, and this was announced, we've already talked about this, but yesterday I was in Viva Topics internally because that's where I find info about that I need to know. It was on a product. People were asking about Delve, and I went and I found out some stuff, and I was going to ping people, and I looked, I was like, wait a minute, there's a little icon up here, and there is a sidebar for Copilot already integrated and showing that we had announced, and we're using it now internally.
Yeah, it's really helpful, especially when you have 82,000 emails. Mike, I saw your post. Wow.
Yes, we didn't talk about that. Yeah, I always have, just to set the context, a running joke for me and my ongoing managers has been, I can't keep up with my email. I tell people, and I always have people when I say, I get a ton of email, please message me, or if you're going to email me, don't hesitate to resend, because I get tons, and people, yeah, and they act like, I'm being exaggerating. When I left, I had just over 14,000 unread, which is a lot. I fluctuate between 8 to 14,000. And I have a 30-day auto archive turned on. So that's all within a 30-day period. And I went to Hawaii for this award trip. And when I got back, and I took a screenshot, and I'll share. I'm going to put that up just so people know. that I am not making this up. Where is that? Oh, it's in downloads. Oh, here it is.
I do not want to be as popular as you.
And
just for the record.
I'm going to put this up over here. So the first thing that when I share, people will see it. But yeah, I go in and I had here, we'll start to share because we're going to share the desktop anyways. Okay. I'll bring that up. And this was what greeted me when I logged in. 82,120 from a week.
I would have been like, I'm just turning this off and I don't know what to do. Like,
I was like, I started going through and, you know, with the jet lag and all that, I was like, and after about 1,000 emails, I was like, what am I doing? And so I used Copilot to start summarizing and pulling back. And when I finished that, I went in, select all, mark as red.
Awesome. Wow.
I hit goal 0. 0 unread. But I do have to see. Let me see something. But oh yeah, I'm not doing too bad. So I've been keeping up. So now I'm only at 1,249 unread.
Oh, that's much better.
To me, that's phenomenal.
Yeah. You can do that in an hour with Copilot.
So yeah, so that was yeah, but Copilot's been sucking the wind out of all people's attention. And to be honest, I hadn't been aware, you know, because customers have been asking Copilot. And I was getting starting to get a lot around that whole communication communities because of Amplify, which is now generally available. And in fact, I was playing around administratively on the back end with it the other day. I was like, ooh, this is cool. Yeah, so what's new in Viva? Because Viva is on the march.
Yeah. And this is all available in our tech community blogs. So you can, and there's lots of links. So I encourage you to go and check it out yourself. And yes. Yeah,
if you go to the Microsoft Viva blog on here, and we'll have the links to all that, you'll see the what's new right here. But there is all kinds of stuff that have been coming out. Something that you're going to be talking about in a week from now, AI-powered skills in Viva.
Yes.
But we're going to go through and talk about what's new.
Okay.
And we'll just kind of bring everybody up to date. So the first one that I saw that I thought it hit me, I was like, wow, was this whole what's new in Viva connection. So they've just come out. And what I love about this is we just released, if you go to and look at, if you follow SharePoint, we released a whole new framework that enabled a lot of very cool scenarios, things that Viva Amplify was waiting on. So for example, when you draft a news story, they're sent as email and it sends the whole story, not just a little blurb with a link to, and it formats the HTML so it fits the email properly. But they created all this new framework stuff that's really cool for UI and visuals and multi-format. And with that, they've refreshed, first of all, there's a refreshed experience for Viva Connections. And you'll note it looks a little different. There's new opportunities for branding. They've enhanced the dashboard, and we'll go through some of the new cards. Different things that you can provide here around links and resources. And then because Viva keeps growing, instead of having that little toolbar of just some icons, no descriptions, they brought all that area. So as you light it up, you'll have all that here with descriptors.
That's so nice.
Yeah, so a lot nicer. And with that, they brought a couple other things. So the one piece that they had around news and events has been the feed.
Okay.
And the feed is great. AI generated content, right? Or generated links to stories based upon who you are and what you're doing. But a complaint, and I get it, that communication teams had was they had no control over it.
No targeting control, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it showed
So has
what it
that
showed.
changed?
It did. So
Awesome.
we now have announcements.
Very
And
cool.
announcements you can bring in there and drop them in. They'll show also in here in your mobile view as well. But this whole announcements piece is for targeted communications, which fits perfectly with the new released Viva Amplify, right?
Absolutely. And this way you can target things to different employee populations, right? Like your
Yes.
frontline workers might, be interested in different communication than maybe the office workers, for example.
And you can really control those announcements experience on that page, whereas the feed is kind of it shows what it shows, right? You don't have that. So that's something people have been asking with the release of Amplify, where we coincided it with this whole targeted piece on announcements. So that's cool. The whole Viva on the phone, we've enhanced a couple of different things around that with dark mode, with the colors on the screen and for eye strain. I use dark mode all the time.
Yeah, I like it too.
My daughter makes fun of me. She's like, "Oh, you're such a look at me, I'm edgy." I'm like, "What do you mean? Come on." But yeah, so we've enhanced that. Desktop search. So provided a dedicated search, not just the Teams piece, but dedicated, bringing that in. They've also enhanced baseline, even if you don't have Viva, the baseline analytics for Viva connections specifically. So you can see not only who's coming, the frequency, but how are they accessing it?
That's really important for the corporate comms team to understand, right? Yeah.
It is. It is. So a lot around that. Also, this home site integration by adding dedicated placement of UI for global nav. They've added that now in. And then some new cards, which I think are cool.
Yeah, I saw the ServiceNow card is available.
And in fact, they enhanced it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
How'd
they
enhance
updated
it?
I don't know. We'll find out. I know they call it out here, but the first thing that they talked about was number one, a news card. Again, targeted news, right? So you can take and then have that displayed, which is beautiful because the card then is seamless on the phone for access. And so you come in and you can do things that people were used to doing with the news web part previously, like target, what do I want to show? Top news of this site, all news, all sites in the hub, select sites, recommended for current users. This will be very familiar to anybody who has worked with the web part in the past on SharePoint.
Okay. And then I want to ask you at some point for a little, since you were the SharePoint samurai back in the day, and I saw a throwback post. I don't know if it was a Throwback Thursday post on LinkedIn showing you as SharePoint samurai. If you could just tell me a little bit more about what SharePoint is, like the guts of SharePoint.
Yeah, that's a great question because a lot of people, when they think of SharePoint, if they, there's a lot of preconceived notions, and SharePoint, the whole thing, if you was to create a shared point to communicate, share, interact, work on content, as well as present web-based UI for a corporate intranet, right?
Okay.
But a lot of people thought of it as just a web-based file share, to be blunt, sharing documents for years, and it got a bad rep. But meanwhile, over the years, it's evolved. But people, they don't even realize, they're like, I'm so glad I don't deal with SharePoint anymore. I just go into Teams to share our documents. It's just there. And I'm like, guess what? It's all SharePoint.
Teams is built on SharePoint, right?
The whole M365, almost everything you see, I was on a call when we first did connections, and they were this locked experience and all that. And I was like, I was talking to people on the PG because it was very limited in what it could do at the time. And I said, look, I pulled it up and you're doing some of these are, I mean, the dashboard is just a web part. This is a part. I said, come on, you're using SharePoint framework, but you're not using the page developer and the edit function. Well, yeah. I was like, it's all SharePoint. So people don't realize all this web-based UI that you're seeing, it all ends up coming back to SharePoint. And they've done all kinds of enhancements, but like this is a great example of taking what was a web part. And I actually talked to a customer about this the other day because they were like, well, we want to leverage a tile where they can self-select links and have a link thing of their links, because we do that today. And I said, well, where are you doing that? Well, it's on our homepage. Where's your homepage? It's a SharePoint page. What's that thing that you developed? Oh, it's a SharePoint web part. It's like, you can encapsulate that as a dashboard tile, and it just works. And they were like, what? And then I showed them this, and they're like, oh my goodness. So yeah, SharePoint is just, it provides infrastructure for so much of what we talk about. Yeah. People just don't realize all that it's doing. And then they go on from there. They do some other things. So they released a search template card where you can set up search against non-Microsoft repositories. So like ServiceNow or whatever you want to set up and do that, business data. And it has here, you can even do stuff like open conference rooms, trainings, airline tickets. Wow. It could be to pretty much anything, right? So it's the ability to set up this card that ties to search functionality for other third-party systems that already exist and wrap it in one place.
Right. So people don't have to keep trying to find a place to do those things, right? It's
and no, go ahead.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
Oh, but and the other thing is you could use this multiple times, drop it in, name it, right? But have it search to different things and then target those, depending upon the user.
Right. That's really nice.
They have they talk about new card support for Microsoft Sway. I had somebody asking me about Sway. Have you ever used Sway?
I haven't used Sway. Can you tell me more about Sway?
Sway into the music. I'm having flashbacks now. Who sang that? Was that Orleans? At any rate, so Sway is a web-based UI tool in SharePoint for creating, and you can actually use it on the public internet. There was a whole great, actually before, Anthony Bourdain had used it and published a whole thing on Japan, eating your way through Japan and documenting. So it's a great way to present content in a way for responsive layout where you don't have to understand HTML or web pages, but you're taking pictures, videos, and all that stuff and uploading them, dropping them in, and it does, it's a great way to do presenting in the web and not having to do like PowerPoint, right?
Oh, nice. So low code presenting.
No code.
No code.
It's literally drag and drop. So now that they've done this, I'm going to have to do a video on leveraging Sway.
Yes.
I love Sway.
I want to watch it.
But they've dropped in Sway now. You can access via cards for Microsoft Forms, which one of my manager's peer, his name's Tavis. Tavis the other day had dropped a form and did a form in Teams in the chat, and he's like, "How do I pull the data now?" I was like, "It's in your forms." I said, click open in web, and it opened up, and there it was. But now you can drop in, create forms, stupid, simple, easy, right? And have those reflected through a card and Power Apps in cards out of the box.
Wow.
So that's in all dashboard stuff. There's also a field services card for CRM data and a new people search card. So we've talked a lot, about enhanced people in Viva and how that's going to show. And instead of it just being a landing spot, it's really a pervasive experience and lighting that up. And so this is kind of one of those beginning points where I need to find somebody, boom, search, and have it show up.
Or looking somebody up. I like that whenever there's somebody new that I'm meeting for the first time, like in a meeting or something, it's always nice to be able to look them up and kind of see how they're, where they sit in the organization and a little more about them. So you can do it right there.
And get all that info. And then to tie into that, they've enhanced the card designer, right? So for people cards, being able to do some more custom information and to enhance that view, which people have been asking about, because we released this Org Explorer and they're like, oh, I can't enhance it. Guess what? Now you can.
Now you can.
And you can do it. And guess what? It's driven off of SharePoint. I'll just tell you that.
And it's leveraging the graph.
And it's leveraging the graph and other org data from your HR system.
Right.
So they now have add your org data. So you can pull all those attributes. So you have PeopleSoft or you have SAP or whatever it is, you can export and import that data in.
Yeah. And you know what's going to come, and we'll talk about it in a couple weeks. Skills will be in there too. So
which is huge because that ties into your training and to your upward and sideways mobility in the org.
Right.
Great stuff. Viva Engage updates. So we talked about that. All that is just for connections, which is crazy, right? That's just connections. I was like, what the heck? That's a post unto itself. We're not even halfway through this post. Viva Engage has a new object, and I've been waiting for this because I've been talking. People are like, "Well, where did blogs go? Blogs disappeared," and I'm like, "Really, the place for that is you post and engage. You got your storyline becomes your blog." But I have had people point out it's much more limited in what you could do, because in blogs it was SharePoint. I could drop all kinds of goodies on that page, and I can't do that here.
Okay.
Well, now we have, it's called article in here in your storyline, right? And guess what? The article is
a blog.
It's a SharePoint page.
Oh, it's a SharePoint page. But this is where you can kind of create a blog. And it gives you more.
You can do it in yours, and it's all kept unified in storyline.
Okay.
So I don't know where this is going. I'm just going to throw this out. I'm going to have somebody slap me, because I've been pushing for not just this piece, but also just like blogs is a great medium that people leverage because it provides that consolidated view, right? Your stuff. And now people can really make storylines their blog. What else is there's another media format that people use to do regular storytelling updates and all that we're using right now, and that is
podcasts. That's awesome.
I think, just my own suspicions, that at some point we'll see something like that here. The Stream is doing, the Stream team, this isn't even in here, totally separate. Stream team updated the Stream app. Guess what you can do now? Mobile recording and uploading.
Ah, wow.
And you can upload, you could plug those in. So that, I think that, but this just excites me, this whole, because now with this, users really can come in, and then all the power they have for SharePoint, embeds, web parts, and all that, that's all there. And it talked about flexible design and a rich editor to give you control over that and publish those. And you can publish that to the community and or your storyline. And so like here, they're showing an example of a monthly newsletter published right into Engage.
And then I see there's a bunch of analytics. Yeah.
And that's around engage, right? So
Yes.
enhanced analytics and network. And yeah, they're doing much more. Like we had some limited analytics. Now they're showing all stuff around, like here's activity by platform, network activity, audience activity, personal activity, campaign activity, global answers activity, just being able to.
Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry. Oh, I was going to say that's going to also start to be incorporated with Viva Insights and with some of the other behavioral data that's going on. So you can kind of get a richer understanding at the org level around sentiment and different groups and how people are networked and the communities that are organically evolving. And it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is. And, here again, you can see things like trending, work life. I mean, there's all kinds of new reporting and diving in that you can really start to unpack and get to all that information, and people have been asking for it. So we've now seen two, and I'm going to highlight in connections. You have new analytics. You have a new enhanced analytics in engage, right? New enhanced, redesigned, advanced conversational analytics that are here. And we're going to park those two because they're going to pop up again in a more unified appearance. But we have that. You can also now, for your posts that they've enabled, you can draft and schedule instead of just doing a Viva and at second you hit post, it's live. So now you can schedule posts like for your blog.
Nice. Well, I want to take a moment to share something because it's really important. So when people talk about, the hybrid work and not knowing how people are, tracking because they can't see them in the office and all of these like kind of demands to come back to the office. What we really need to see is leaders adopting these new data-driven ways where you can understand how employees are networked and how if they're thriving or if they're not, and by leveraging all these analytics that are available. So that's kind of the pivot that needs to take place in understanding your workforce and your culture and what's going on, instead of like trying to demand that everybody go back to this office, every day. So I just wanted to share that. This is how you this is how you run your business.
This is it. And and again, they're doing all kinds of stuff, real quickly on the drafting. They show them mobile, like you're able to blog from your phone to engage. It all just works because it's SharePoint under the hood, and SharePoint has responsive framework, automatically works. They also, this is a big area, corporate communication compliance and engage. So now Microsoft Purview has communication compliance built in. So you can enforce and make sure people aren't releasing PHI data and other inappropriate things that everybody gets the heebie-jeebies about.
That's been a big ask. I know.
That's been a big ask.
Yeah.
There's a whole blog. They have here, you can see all about it right here. But again, because Viva, we're leveraging now all the security and compliance tools. It's great stuff.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Mike, there are 4 generations in the workforce now. And, we're obviously not in the generation where this is like totally native and organic, blogging from our phone and everything. But there are the other generations in the workforce, this is just normal operating, day-to-day stuff.
I appreciate it because even though when you talk about 4 generations, I'm the 4th oldest. I mean, that I might even be beyond that at this point.
You are not.
I will tell. When we were out in Hawaii for this Microsoft event, I honestly can say I did not encounter anybody my age or older from our company. So, but having said that, you know, like my daughter always teases me, but I actually Engage, I use mostly from my phone. I really
Awesome.
do. I post from my phone all the time. And
I know. I love your mic
I love
on
it.
the go.
Yeah, I mean, I just love doing stuff. It's just convenient. Um, but we still got a bunch. So Viva Goals.
Viva Goals. That's
Okay,
our OKR solution. Yeah. So we brought Copilot into Viva Goals now, and it's available for customers.
for
So it's
private
in private
preview.
preview. Yep. And it's
Talk to
gonna,
your team.
yeah, talk to your Microsoft account team about it. It's gonna help you like leverage generative AI and recommending OKRs that might be applicable based on some of the data it's scanned over and some of the other content that's been created. So be able to leverage that is super powerful.
It's huge. I saw one of the things that it's able to do with that integration. And by the way, you get, if you have the Viva Suite, you get all the Copilot in Viva capabilities as a part of it. You don't, there's not
That's
a
right.
separate license for
Yep.
that. And one of the things for goals that I saw was generate goals from a document.
Yeah. Saves you so much time.
It was crazy. But they also talked about, like, one of the things I know you and I have both encountered this with customers where they want to use goals in extended capacities with dev,
Yeah.
with performance people.
Reviews, especially, is
Yeah.
a big ask.
And so now they have a new private preview of goals customization for customers who want to leverage goals outside the OKR framework for those very things.
Great.
And the last part I'll say on that is, we already had DevOps, Azure DevOps integration, but it was more limited and it had to fit into the OKR framework. Now the goals we've enhanced it so that you can take all the Azure DevOps things that are important to you and bring those in and enhance what you're metricing and monitoring as a part of goals so that it's really reflective of what's happening with dev.
Wow.
That's
That's
crazy.
great.
And so that's out. Went live this week.
Viva Amplify. Everybody's been waiting for this. This is for corporate comms teams doing campaigns and multi-channel publishing. So yeah, that's exciting.
And not only the multi-channel, so like, hey, I want to go to SharePoint, email, and Teams, but we've seen all those enhanced metrics, having a single place to see across all the channels of publishing. What's that engagement look like? And
that's amazing, Mike. You don't know how. Still, yesterday, a customer wanted to know, hey, how can we tell how many people have opened this email communication?
And how long did they spend in it?
Right. Well, now, I mean, what you really want to be able to do is see every channel, which channels are being used. Like, there's a bunch of people who don't read emails. Like,
yeah,
we talked about earlier.
Well, in the email, what's that? I thought that went the way of cuneiform and the Sumerians. But no, it's like, with this whole multi-channel too, because there's a lot of people putting out things that maybe that channel's no longer effective, or it may be more effective for certain communication types.
Right.
But now you can actually, in a single place, look at it side by side, get all that. And I mean, to me, that's awesome. And so Viva, but you only get Viva Amplify two ways.
How are those? How do you get it?
So Corporate Com would like it. So we have the Viva Suite.
Right.
Or you can also get a subset, which is the Communications and Community Suite.
The bundle. Yeah.
The bundle.
Bundle has Viva Connections, Viva Engage, and Viva Amplify.
Yes.
So we do license
having
it
said
that way.
it's a great way to get going if that's really what you're targeting, is that corporate comm and engagement.
Yeah.
But you don't get Copilot in Viva.
Yeah. But you can start there and then step up later.
And then step up. And absolutely.
Yeah, if that's what works for your organization.
Yeah.
So
yep, absolutely. And it is a great way to get started, and especially brings so much today. This was something I was like, what? And you said the same thing. I haven't heard of it. Viva Home.
Yeah, I'm glad we saw this, because I think it's going to be applicable for a lot of customers still. But yeah, it was a surprise.
Yeah, so Viva Home, they said it's not a new app. It's none of that. It's actually helps users find Viva content about Viva and how to use Viva and new things, because we're publishing all that out on the web, and it's a consolidation of that, but bringing it as a native experience right within Teams and within Viva, so that you can find all that and connect with communities, public community. Like there's an Amplify community, there's a goals community, right? And so being able to connect with people all, again, in that Teams single pane of glass.
Mm-hmm.
This I didn't know about. Did you hear about this coming? Viva on the web?
On the web? No.
So we have some customers, shame, who have not moved to fully to the single pane of glass of Teams, and they're still on other systems for some of their voice and
point
meetings.
Solutions.
Point solutions. I have no time for point solutions. I always feel dirty after I have to go to a meeting on a point solution. Like, but and I uninstall it as soon as I'm done, and then I have to reinstall.
I know, I don't like it on my device.
But customers were asking, like, we're not all the way yet to Teams. We're going to get there, but we're not there. But we want to take advantage. So now in the app launcher for 365, you get all the web-based versions of Viva.
Nice.
So people can get to it all there. And we're making the apps discoverable in centralized search. So like right off your home page. So in if you got SharePoint, boom, you can find the app. If you type Viva, your apps will just drop right there, making that available. Do you want just like 1 minute? You got to say, can't just tease it, but skills in Viva.
Yeah, so we're going to do a deeper dive in skills in Viva, but it's super exciting. We just announced it at HR Tech this week, and it's going to leverage the skills taxonomy from LinkedIn and the Microsoft Graph together to really help, understand, the skills in your organization, where there might be gaps and opportunities. And it's also going to, like we mentioned earlier, show up on your people card. So a whole new focus on kind of accelerating internal mobility, onboarding, and upskilling, which is really important now, since there are so many new things coming that people need to kind of learn and get skilled on.
I mean, that's huge, doing that pervasive. And again, I had a customer, now it's kind of clicking. Wasn't clicking as much early with my slow brain. But I had a customer that they were asking about People Card and being able to customize the people view for displaying of skills.
Oh, well, it's gonna and it's gonna it leverages AI to automatically populate the skills, and then it gives you the opportunity to go and manually, confirm that you do have those skills. But it's kind of doing that in that intelligent way, because people do not go in and update their skills.
No,
I mean, that's just never going to happen.
No.
And so this is a way to leverage AI, which is a huge opportunity to kind of keep everything fresh, and also for new roles that people might be wanting to get into in the organization. It gives managers a way to go and look at the people who might have the skills they're looking for on their team or that they need. So yeah, a lot of cool things.
intelligently suggest training for you based off of your skills and things that you're looking to expand on. I mean,
Right.
there's
Yeah.
just so much where that's going to plug in and come to play. That's exciting. But we're
Yeah.
going to hear more about it when you're at
HR Tech, the Gartner HR Tech Conference. It's in Orlando on October 23rd, 24th, 25th. So we'll do a deep dive on skills then. And so we'll really get into it and probably have some more use cases to talk about.
Awesome. So that's it for the, I should say that's it. That's it. That's a lot. They do have some links to use cases and talking about that in a short FAQ saying when you'll see Viva showing up. Like I looked in one of my demo tenants. I didn't see it. I went into the admin setup. If you go and expand all on the admin side and click setup and click Viva, there it was. And I just had to walk through the setup pieces. But you'll see those rolling out. So take a look. There is so much. We'll provide the link to this page and some of the connected pages, but Viva.
Viva. And I can't wait to see what comes out at Ignite.
Yeah, Ignite. I am stoked because I've heard both, the whole Copilot and Viva that there's just they're going to drop some bombs. People are going to be like, what?
Good times.
Excellent. So that's all I've got. Anything you want to add or say?
Just great to see you and catch up, and hope everybody has a super nice weekend, and it's a beautiful weekend. Yes. And share the road.
Share the road. That's right. Share the road. And it was great to catch up with you. We actually talked for 45 minutes before we started recording because it's been a while.
I know. We've both been out and about, so
yeah,
good to be back.
Well, that's it for me. So Mike,
Tyrelle,
bidding you all have a great day, have a great weekend. Like she said, share the road, and don't forget Microsoft. I gotta move my body here. Viva. I always want to sing when I see that. Viva. No? Probably get in trouble with a copyright. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care and ciao.
thank you.